A Sigma male is defined by his independence and quiet competence. He forges his own path. But what happens when the very tools he uses to build his life, his mind, his discipline, his solitude, begin to turn against him? This video is for the Sigma who feels like he's running on empty. A Sigma's internal world is his greatest asset, but it can also become a silent battlefield. We're going to pull back the curtain on the signs a Sigma male is burned out. Stick with me until the very end, and I'll share some wisdom that will not only validate your current struggles, but also give you the roadmap to finding your way back to yourself. Sign number 1, goals feel pointless. The Sigma male is defined by his missions, by his desire to create and master skills. Normally, these pursuits fuel his soul, giving his life purpose and direction. But during burnout, he experiences a profound shift. The projects he once poured his energy into now feel heavy, pointless, or even irritating. This isn't a sign of laziness, it's a loss of internal drive. This is an attack on the very foundation of his identity, and it leads to an existential void where the purpose that once defined him has completely vanished. But what happens when that internal drive is not only gone, but it starts to affect his actions? Sign number 2, his disciplined habits begin to crumble. While most people need external accountability, a Sigma male lives by his own code. He builds strict, disciplined habits, not out of obligation, but as a strategic choice to optimize his life and maintain control. During burnout, that defining self-discipline dies. What others see is him skipping his usual workout, missing a self-imposed deadline, or defaulting to mindless escapism like endless streaming or scrolling. Internally, he feels a growing sense of shame and a loss of his own self-mastery. The consequence of this is a downward spiral, where the guilt from breaking his code fuels the very exhaustion that caused it in the first place. This symptom is so critical because a Sigma male's pride isn't in what others see, but in the private strength of his self-governance. When that governance fails, his greatest asset, his self-control, becomes a source of deep internal conflict. This isn't just a missed workout, it's the erosion of his identity. It makes you wonder how a mind so sharp can become a source of pain. Sign number 3, his sharp mind, once his greatest tool, becomes a prison. While the crowd acts on impulse, a Sigma male relies on a strategic, analytical mindset to navigate his world. He processes information internally, weighing every angle and consequence before he acts. But in burnout, this intellectual strength warps into a toxic loop of rumination. What others might notice is his indecision, his hesitation on simple tasks, or a general sense of being withdrawn. Internally, he is trapped in a mental cage, endlessly replaying past mistakes and overthinking future scenarios until he becomes completely paralyzed. The consequence of this is that the very part of him he trusts most, his mind, has now become a source of inaction and deep anxiety, locking him in a loop he can't think his way out of. This happens because a Sigma male's pride often prevents him from externalizing his struggles. He believes he must solve his own problems, but when the problem is his own thought process, his solitude becomes a silent, psychological battlefield. Do you know what I mean? Let me know if you can relate in the comments below. Sign number 4, his emotional detachment, once a shield, becomes a deep numbness. While most people are tossed around by their emotions, a Sigma male learns to navigate them with a detached clarity, seeing it as a strength that allows for a strategic, objective decision-making. But during burnout, this healthy emotional distance pushes to dangerous levels, settling into a constant, dull gray feeling. To others, he may appear more cold and apathetic. He might not react to news that would normally bring him joy or pain. Internally, there is an absence of feeling, as if his internal spark has gone out. The consequence is that the very shield he built to protect himself has now isolated him from the richness of his own experience. This happens because the Sigma male's pride is in his emotional control. When the internal pressure is too great, that defense mechanism backfires, turning his greatest strength into a source of painful emptiness. And this emptiness makes his sacred solitude feel less like a choice and more like a cage. Sign number 5. His sacred solitude becomes a suffocating loneliness. While most people crave constant social validation, a Sigma male finds strength in his quiet solitude. It's his sanctuary for recharging, a strategic choice that sets him apart from the crowd. But during burnout, this healthy isolation turns into a painful withdrawal. What others might notice is a total lack of availability, a complete disappearance from social circles, or a coldness that pushes people away. Internally, the silence that was once so peaceful now feels heavy and hollow. He feels a profound sense of disconnection from everyone, even when he's in a crowd. The consequence is that his chosen solitude becomes a form of self-punishment, creating a cycle where his isolation feeds his emotional exhaustion. This is the ultimate betrayal of his nature, because his independence, the very thing that he's known for, is what prevents him from reaching out. He is a lone wolf trapped in a cage of his own making, with no one to hear the struggle within. Sign number 7, a profound existential void. While the average man might find purpose in his work or family, a Sigma male forges his own meaning. It is the pursuit of his self-directed purpose that defines him and gives his life an anchor. But at the deepest level of burnout, he faces an existential crisis. To others, he may look completely directionless, abandoning the very passions that once consumed him. Internally, he questions the meaning of his pursuits, his relationships, and his very existence. He feels like a ghost walking through his own life, and the things that once gave him definition no longer hold any weight. This is the ultimate consequence, because a Sigma male's identity is entirely self-forged. When his internal fire is extinguished, there is no one and nothing to fall back on. He has to rediscover his path in the dark, and that is the true test of his internal resolve. This existential void is the deepest form of burnout a Sigma male can face. When the path he has forged for himself seems to lead nowhere, he is faced with a profound crisis. But if any of these signs resonated with you, understand this: your exhaustion isn't a failure. It's a testament to the internal weight you carry and the strength it takes to operate on your own terms. Your burnout is a silent signal that your mind and body, which have worked so tirelessly to build your fortress, are demanding a strategic retreat. The wisdom is this: true strength is not just in enduring silently, but in having the insight to recognize when your greatest assets, your independence, your intellect, and your control have been pushed to their limits. This is a battle you must win alone, just as you win all your others. But your quiet competence will not fail you. It is simply time to turn that focus inward and rebuild your foundation. Thank you so much for watching.